give you the markets update now. The local index expected to struggle today amid a scorching session. This was from the global markets this morning. Investors are still digesting news that China's COVID-19 outbreak has worsened. Rella Suskin is head of research at Benguela Global Fund Managers. She joins us now to give us an update on the latest market moves and some company news. Rella, good morning to you. How are the markets faring in early trade of, let's say, this is ahead of another 4-day week of trade?
Morning. Yeah. So, as you mentioned, markets are a lot weaker this morning. Our JSE has opened close to 3% down, really following firstly U.S. markets on Friday, which already started to see quite a softening. But then this morning, Asian markets followed, as you mentioned, on the back of COVID news in China. It seems like the lockdowns in Shanghai are going to continue for quite a bit longer. And that obviously has its impacts on economic growth and companies' earnings potential. So people starting to price in lower earnings growth coming out of China. In our local markets, we see the rand continue to weaken. And that's really, it's across emerging markets, as well as our own local economic perils. And commodities also weakening on the same side on the back of China.
Talking about those commodities, oil prices slipped to near 2-week lows. Talk us through the sentiments influencing trade on that front.
Yeah, so again, everything, all eyes on China and how long these COVID lockdowns are going to continue for. China is the second largest consumer of oil globally. So when big capital cities shut down, demand for oil does reduce. So where we've had concerns around supply issues coming from Russia, Ukraine over the last few weeks, the continued lower oil price is really from the demand side this time.
Yeah, let's talk company news. Sasol publishing its production and sales metrics update for the 9 months, which ended on the 31st of March 2022. Talk us through their numbers and in particular the comments shared by the group about the impact of the KZN floods.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed result from Sasol. A lot of it has been guided to previously and largely expected. On the energy side, which is largely based in South Africa, there's definitely improvements on their operational side. So at their last update in December, they spoke to operational challenges at Secunda in the mining division, where their coal stockpiles were lower than expected and they're having operational efficiency issues. That has now normalized, which is certainly positive, as that the mining business and the amount of coal they have feeds the rest of the Africa business. So that is normalized, and they're guiding that they're going to meet their year-end guidance, which is certainly positive. On the chemical side, strong revenue growth up 28%, and that's largely driven by price increases. As we know, oil prices much higher year on year, chemical prices much higher, and that's been offset by lower sales volumes. The lower sales volumes are a combination of both. They've been going through a divestment process, so they've divested of their US-based chemicals business as well as a business in Eurasia. But also they are seeing weaker demand coming out of their Eurasia business going forward, which is a negative impact. And that's really a consequence of the Russia-Ukraine war as well as China in lockdown again. So it's impacting chemical demand.
Let's conclude the conversation with Astral Foods, also posting a trading statement. How are their numbers looking in the period under review?
Yeah, so it was a positive update from Astral. They guided for earnings a bit early in the year. They said that earnings are expected to be up more than 100%. This statement today says earnings are expected to be up between 130 and 140%. So this was better than the initial expectations by the market. The drivers behind the solid performance is an improvement in sales volume. Astral has gone through a couple of years of investing in their production capacity, and that's starting to benefit them. And also they've started to be able to push through price increases on their chicken products so recovering some of the raw material increases we've seen come through over the last year.
Yeah, Rella Suskin, thank you very much for that markets update. She is head of research at Benguela Global Fund Managers.